Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. Four nerds, well, can't talk tonight. Four nerds by nerds. I'm Nerditor Dave, joined by all of these nerds, and we're about to play some Ingest Quest, powered by the Quest RPG. And our illustrious guide this evening, Nerditor Doug. I'll throw it over to you, and you can do your thing.
All right, so you are all backstage at the perfect match, which you have arranged. Scripture Knight is there. He's a very proper knight with a classic armor, but he has like sort of like I forget the word, not a podium, but like what's the thing you can set on a desk to make it like
a lectern?
Yes, a lectern is like on a shoulder strap in front of him where he says parchment, and he has many like quills and things, and he is...
I thought he was going to start preaching to us when you said lectern.
No, it's just where he write...
or not lectern, Scripture Knight. I was ready for the preaching.
Well, Scripture Knight likes to make sure there's a record of everything that of importance on Gartania, and of course he is asking the four of you, your regular characters, to basically recap. So he's like, he turns to Ularn first, and he's like, you have made great impact since coming to Gartania upon royal matters, and I, of course, must record such matters for posterity. Can you tell me what exactly was it that brought you to these circumstances? And limit your answer to the previous 2-hour block of time, please.
I will hold up my cane and tap it on the end like it's a microphone. And, well, we could go into all that, or we could discuss the exciting events that are about to unfold here this evening. We've got 3 lovely contestants and 1 king. That is the prize, or at least going on a date with the said prize. Wait a minute. Is the king still off to the side? Can he hear?
Yeah, you can see him through. There's a little space in the curtain, and you can see that he's just like posing for the crowd.
Yeah. Can we get a silence spell over there?
Yes, sure. And one of the let's see. You caught me unawares. I have so many people. An appropriate person. We'll say Lady Shade. I haven't used her yet. She stands up. She carries an umbrella, or like a parasol, except that there's like a shadow coming out under it, and walks over and uses some witchly magic to soundproof where King Knight is at.
Well, me and my companions have spent the last day or so finding these lovely contestants. Here we have the Crow Knight, and I point over to Sir Kaz, and our cameras are messed up again. I'm not sure why.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
What happened?
I'm not sure, but the doctor and Sir Kaz are in the wrong spots. If you guys will just hit your cameras real quick.
Sure thing.
Well, while he's fixing that, to further set the scene, you see that there, in addition to the
nope, that's not right. Maybe it should be Steven.
Hey.
Yeah, Robin. And Ted. All right, thank you. Sorry about that, folks. And over here, contestant number 2, we have the Botany Knight. And
hey, whatever.
Contestant number 3, we have the Mechanic Knight. And that is what we've been doing, gathering these lovely contestants to win a date with the grand prize of the kingdom, and that is with the king, of course.
Oh, he can't hear you. Wait, he is silenced?
Yeah, he's silenced, so he doesn't know who the contestants are.
Right.
So,
but folks, he can hear their answers.
Yeah. Well, so we'll drop the silence spell when we start.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So remember, folks, we don't want to reveal the identity of our contestants to the king. You must keep that quiet for now. If you wish to root for Crow Knight number 1, or if you wish to root for Botany Knight number 2, or if you wish to root for Mechanic Knight The number 3 is your number. You can arrange yourselves however you want, but remember, do not spoil the surprise for the king, or you may be executed. With that, let's drop the silence and let's get started.
Also, you see on the stage, there's another knight is just finishing up. He's wearing, like, his armor looks like it's just made of all entwined vines with grapes hanging off it. This is Vine Knight, and he's setting a crystal goblet filled with rosé upon a gilded jewel-crested table. It's the finest vintage rosé, which King Knight will offer to the contestant he chooses.
Ooh.
Work that pun in. Will you accept this rosé?
Ha!
Contestants, do you accept the rosé?
Oh, no, that's what he'll offer at the end.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's like the Bachelor.
Yeah.
Instead of a rose, it's a glass of
Gotcha. So, we'll go right in order to begin with contestant number 1. If you could go anywhere in the spheres, where would you go and why?
Okay, contestant number 1 is Botany Knight, right? I'm looking at the notes, or did
No,
you...
no, it's you.
Oh,
Crumb.
okay, well, oh, I love visiting the Great Gartania Library, and I am absolutely sure that there are some other wonderful collections of books out there that I would love to peruse and learn from.
Excellent. Contestant number 2. Same question.
Well, obviously, I go to my house because it's like the best place ever. I mean, like, the outdoors is okay too, but like, clearly I have the best taste,
Contestant number 3, where are you going?
Well, I like to make things better for, those around me. So, I guess an answer would be to go where I'm most needed. But if you need something a little bit more concrete, and she just kind of, points upward, I think space would be an interesting place to visit.
King Knight I have a question for contestant number 1.
Yes.
What kind of books would you be most interested in at this library? Books on ruling and knightly valor?
And medical texts. It's very important, particularly for a standing army, to be able to heal the wounded when they are hurt, because if they stayed down, that would be a huge problem.
I like it. Proceed with your questions.
Excellent. We'll switch it up. Contestant number 3. A dragon is destroying the castle. You can only save 3 things. What do you save and why?
Only save 3 things. I guess, my tools, my family, and I guess more tools.
No, very creative way to cheat on that question. Contestant number 2. What do you do when the dragon is destroying the castle? What 3 things do you grab?
To be fair, outsider, our families are quite large. I accept that answer.
Obviously, I would save the castle, duh, because like the castle is the most important thing. And let's see. I'd save myself, and I'd probably save the king.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one to follow up with, so we won't even bother. Contestant number 1, what is the last book you read, and did you enjoy it?
Oh, no, I actually disagree. I feel like this is a very important question to address anyway. I mean, this dragon, like, what specifically is it? What is it constructed of? Why is it attacking the castle?
I don't know. It's dragon stuff. The part of the... We don't delve that deeply into our questions here on the Royal Match Game.
I I mean, I suppose that's fair, but I do think that those are important factors in what you would do as a second step when a dragon is attacking you. But books, you said?
Yes. What is the last book you read, and did you enjoy it? And it sounds like someone's never been in the middle of a dragon attack. As I turn to the crowd.
Oh, I always enjoy the books I read.
Basically.
They all have something to offer on one basis or another, but the last one that I read was probably Medical Witch's Treatise on cleansing necrotized wounds.
Ooh, gross. Contestant
It
2,
was.
you mentioned, your house and saving the castle. Is it your particular house, or is wherever you happen to live the most awesome castle or house?
Oh, no, like I meant I would save the castle because he said save 3 things. And so, like, if the castle's under attack and you save the castle, you kind of saved everything. But then if I couldn't, then I would save me and the king because he's like really hot.
Oh, he is.
Even hotter if that dragon gets a hold of him. Contestant number 1. How do you impress the king's parents or friends?
With my intellect and acumen.
Interesting. Contestant number 3. Same question.
How would I impress the friends? With the neatest gadget or thing that I have made to automate certain daily lifetime activities.
Interesting. Contestant number 2. What is your idea of a romantic evening?
I mean, my idea of a romantic evening is when we get super dressed up so we look the hottest we've ever looked before. And then we go to a place where like we can be hot together. And like if people look, that's even hotter. But like if people don't look, then we better be outside somewhere because like plants are really nice. And probably in a garden would be nice, and fancy food. That has to be there.
Contestant number 3. Same question. What is your idea of a romantic evening?
I think making something. The last contestant mentioned about being hot. I think it's pretty darn hot if you're smithing and smoldering, what have you, and that could lead to other smoldering activities.
Oh, it's getting a little warm in here, folks. Contestant number 1. What is your idea of a romantic evening?
Well, I don't know about you, but I work all the time, and when you're in the public eye and people are always watching you, there is certain something about not being around anyone. So I would say a quiet night in.
Oh, that can be exciting too. Contestant number 1, though. What if you're stranded on an island? What 3 things do you wish you had?
What kind of island is it?
Let's make it a tropical island. This is a show about romance, after all.
In that case, the most important things are going to be food, water, and shelter. You
Very
can't survive without those.
Very practical, very practical. Contestant number 3. What do you take with you on your island?
If we're going to an island, as the last contestant, pointed out, we're going to need to have food and water. But we're on an island, so there's water out there. There's probably plants and wildlife that can be, eaten. So I would say some kind of spear or axe to be able to, chop or kill our wood and prey.
And they say romance is dead. What about you, contestant number 3? What are you taking with you on your island?
Well, I don't have to waste my time with food because I make my own food. But I do need to make sure I bring a little spritzy bottle because sometimes my fronds get filthy. That being said, like I would totally make my own food. But then I would also definitely bring like the best bathing suit and some sunblock and definitely a beach ball because who doesn't love time at the beach?
Nice.
Number 3, so you're saying you could apply your ingenuity to make life better instead of just surviving.
Oh, absolutely.
That's an important quality. I admire this.
Indeed, the king has spoken. Important quality. Contestant number 1. You can invite anyone to dinner. Who would it be, and what would you talk about?
Well, the entire point of being here is to invite the king to dinner, of course. And I have many ideas regarding the kingdom, and I've got many questions about how he is as a person in general. So,
Contestant number 2. What about you? Who are you inviting to dinner, and what are you going to talk about?
Well, clearly I would invite the king because I definitely want to go out to dinner with the king. And we would probably talk about how hot we both are together.
Contestant number 3. Here's your chance to suck up to the king as well. Who do you invite to dinner, and what would you talk about?
Well, it is quite clear, that the direction of the king's attention is wanted by all. So why would I not wish his attention to be all on me for the evening? But we all know that King Knight and his thirst for warfare is very high, and I think it would be interesting to see his take on particular matters in warfare and new ways to go about doing it or making it easier.
Contestant number 2, the kinds of dinners kings and lords and ladies attend are often filled with subtext of political intrigue. How would you handle a delicate situation with a potential rival?
Delicately, obviously. I mean, I deal a lot with delicate plants, so I know how to do things delicately.
So you like to cultivate these things over time, carefully.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Some of the best poisonous plants are cultivated over time.
Interesting. Well, let's hope we don't ingest any of those. Proceed.
Not alarming at all. But here, I've got probably the most important question I'm going to ask all night long. Contestant number 3. Blink dogs or displacer beasts?
Picking my favorite or which I wish to fight?
You just have to pick one.
Well, I'm going to pick displacer beasts.
Contestant number 2, same question.
Obviously, I go with blink dogs because blink dogs.
And contestant number 1.
I don't have data for displacer beasts, so I'm going to have to go with that one. I could learn quite a bit more.
And we'll let the King Knight gather whatever information he can from that. Contestant number 2. A SpellJammer is broken down in wild space. Do you stop and help?
I mean, it depends on what's going on in the moment, because like sometimes you just have so much going on and you just can't deal with it. So I'd probably let the king choose.
Nice deflection. Contestant number 1. Same question.
Yes, okay. My understanding is there is a distress call. Can you repeat the question? I apologize.
A SpellJammer is broken down in wild space.
Yes.
You stop and help, or do you just keep going?
I stop and help. You never know who's aboard the ship that could be of use to you.
Good point. Contestant number 3, same question.
It is most vital to help and stop and help those in need. Number 1, as the last contestant said, you never know who's going to be on there and what they might be able to do. But it could be a matter of life and death, and it is important to help those that are beneath your station.
Good answer. Number 3, a merchant gives you too much money back. What do you do?
Who did you ask?
Number 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was back to me.
That's cool.
I don't typically count my change. I trust that the merchant has provided me the right amount, so I wouldn't notice it until later. And at that point in time, I would have to make the determination then and there as to where the excess money had come from.
Interesting. Contestant number 3, changes beneath you. Contestant number 1, what about you? A merchant accidentally gives you back too much change. What do you do?
I should think that in a situation like that, the person would probably be trying to bribe me, so I would try to figure out why.
That is a good course of action. Always figure out what the bribe's for. Contestant number 2, what about you? What do you do?
Clearly, I would inform them of their error because people need to know when they're wrong. Am I right? I would handle it delicately if they're too delicate, but then I would definitely give it back to them because I'm rich and hot and don't need that money.
Beautiful answer. So let's go back to you, contestant number 2. What is the weirdest question a date has asked you, and how did you respond?
One time they asked me if my fronds were contagious, and I told them yes, because I wanted to see how they'd react.
Oh, you little imp, you. Contestant number 1, what about you? What's the weirdest question a date has asked you, and how did you respond?
That was number 1, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I've never been on one.
Oh, that's kind of sad. Well, hopefully you'll win and you'll be able to get a question. Get a weird question. I'm sorry, Doug. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I cut you off. Sorry. I was just saying the crowd is kind of like,
Contestant number 3, what about you?
So I was asked, whether it was possible to make munitions that were so large that they were unable to be fired. And I didn't really have a proper answer. It just led me down a line of thought of, how big can a cannon be? How big can munitions really get before they stop working?
Interesting. Let's see. Number 3 again. What is one word describes your life?
One word that describes my life. Creation.
Contestant number 2. What one word describes your life?
Amazalicious.
That's a lot of syllables for one word, but we'll take it. Contestant number 1. What about you?
Erudition.
Oh.
what does that mean, contestant number 1?
It means marked by intelligence and study.
Since we're at contestant number 1, what color best describes your personality and why?
Oh, that is a very good question. I would say probably blue. That tends to be a color more associated with calm and the acquisition of knowledge.
Nice. Contestant number 3, what about you? What color best describes your personality and why?
I would say a steely silver. I like working with metals, but it's also tough and strong, like myself.
Don't forget shiny and pretty. Contestant number 3, what about you?
Green. Definitely green.
Oh, I don't even know if we have to ask why, but we do.
With envy of the rest of us?
I mean, everyone else is green with envy for my green.
Oh, this is a family show. We'll leave it at that. Final question. Contestant number 3. A kid comes up to you, kicks you in the shin. What do you do?
Ask them if they're okay, because they clearly hurt themselves.
Ah, witty. Contestant number 2. What about you? Same kid.
I would kick them back, of course. They need to learn.
Excellent. A night after my own heart. And contestant number 1. What happens to the kid that kicks you in the shin?
Well, I too am armored, so it likely wouldn't do much to me. I would probably try to find its parents.
All right, King Knight, you've got a difficult decision ahead of you. Do you have any final questions you want to ask before you make your decision?
I do. I'm quite impressed by all of you, and indeed to the crew of the Ingest quest for their valor, ingenuity, and intestinal fortitude. Duchess Gut, you know what I'm talking about, isn't that right, my lady? And out in the crowd, Duchess Gut whirls her guts around like those colorful ribbons that they use in the gymnastics. It's a long story, but she's festooned with all sorts of intestinal motifs. And he steps up over by the table, which you can't, he can't see you still. And says, "Before I offer this rosé to one of you, there is one final test." He says, if any of these knights are to become queen to the newly coronated Wall King, then the traditions of Gartania call for their sponsors to prove themselves on the field of knightly valor. And he nods over by the tent flap, and some servants draw him forth, and you see the tourney field has been reset and zhuzhed up a bit. And he gestures for you guys to come from behind the curtain, like your characters. It says, Crow Knight's champion, who would be Sir Cass, I guess, will face Crow Knight's brother, Obsidian Knight, in the joust.
In the joust.
I'm sorry, he wouldn't know that.
He would say contestant 1.
Yes, he would just say contestant
Right.
1's champion, and it'll just work out.
Yeah, Sir Cass still sputters in the joust. Like on a horse.
He says, the mount is up to you. Obsidian Knight will, of course, be riding his giant crow, which you see squawk out on the field by the jousting lanes. Contestant number 3's champion will face her brother, or no, he doesn't say that, sorry. Will face Space Knight in a riding competition. That would be Dr. Christopher, I believe. No, sorry, Urlu. Contestant number 2's champion will face Ladder Knight in a duel.
Excuse me.
And so as not to leave out the host, you'll be my champion and face my bastard's mother, Flint Knight, in an archery competition. All right, his bastard's mother's husband, Flint Knight, sorry.
Classy.
Excellent.
And so he grabs the bottle of rosé and gestures for you to join him, and he walks down the aisle and leads the way with his scepter in hand out into the tourney fields, which it's nighttime now, but there's huge braziers and torches and all the different events are lined up, and set up, and there's banners and all sorts of things. And who would like to go first?
Oh, you just do the numbers in order.
Okay, I guess I don't need a minute.
I was gonna say I'll go if nobody else is jumping.
Oh, please do. I need a minute to figure out what I'm writing.
Okay.
So what is Urlu doing against Space Knight?
An equestrian obstacle course.
Sweet.
Space Knight actually flies over with his racket boots and lands, in the starting area, and he's like, "Oh, you're the ones who came upon that teen jammer, isn't that right?"
Indeed.
And he sort of kneels. Oh, go ahead.
What does Space Knight look like?
Oh, he's basically looks like a racket ship shaped, like his head is the cone, his body is the barrel.
Very
with arms and
phallic.
legs. What's that?
Very phallic.
No, I mean it's like a model racket that you build with arms and legs, and they have like the little, stuff for the arms, and then just big gloves. But he has all sorts of like little doodads, and like I say, he's got like racket boots. He's like, and he's basically like kind of kneels to you, and is just in eyes like, I've learned much just in the couple of hours I had time to observe your ship. It's amazing. I'm honored to compete against you.
I'm overjoyous at this. I don't think I've really done anything like this before. I mean, I like swimming in water, but I mean, this is riding a horse. That's kind of weird. But sure, let's do it. Do we at the same time, or do we kind of have to beat each other's time?
Yeah, it's like a race through an obstacle course. And he's just gonna use his racket boots. They'll of course provide you a horse, or is there anything that you had in mind?
Oh, a horse is fine.
Okay. Well, it just looks like a regular horse, other than the nightly people, the humanoids on this planet. Seems otherwise normal. And this is sort of like a personal trial. So, is there anything that you would like to use, like your power? So, like the obstacle, it's a typical equestrian sort of thing. There's
Absolutely.
jumps,
So
things that go between and so forth.
So again, I like to, if we're doing this at the same time, there's a couple powers that I'll call out, and you let me know whether it's
Sure.
possible. Intercept allows me to put myself between typically myself and an oncoming attack. But if I could like rush in to try and get in front of him, to try and get to an obstacle first, I would like that. On any kind of straightaways, there's charge. So summons all your strength to charge towards it, violently barreling through any foes in your path, knocking them down. I've also got overpower to kind of push past a commoner or minion. May or may not be helpful here, and I am totally trying to win this one out. So however many points you want me to be able to throw into there, I can certainly do that.
Okay. Yeah, it's. I confess I hadn't thoroughly planned this part out, so I was kind of wondering how I want to run this part. Well, let's say that there is several parts of this. There's definitely several straightaways, in which case you indicated you're using your charge, and there are sort of like blind turns and things where you could try to like intercept and get in front of Space Knight as he's rocketing. But the horses on Gartania, while they look normal, they are more like just powerful and stuff. So there's like jumps that are extremely high, like jumping like 20 feet in the air through rings and things like that. And I'm going to say there is 4 events to it, and you can make 4 rolls, and we'll. What are your powers? Just sort of like they knock things down. So how many different things did you say you were using? 3.
I've got overpower, intercept, and charge that I think all apply. And
okay, I'll tell you what. You can make 4 rolls, and on 3 of them you can re-roll it if you want by using them, because you're using those powers in the appropriate adventure points. So we'll see.
Right. Well, I got a 17, a 16, and an 11 on the first 3. I will absolutely re-roll that one catastrophe. All right, so that's a 17, a 16, 11, and a 7.
Which is a tough choice. Okay, we'll say your one tough choice is you do have a chance to intercept Space Knight, but it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's like cheating or anything, but it's like an unsportsmanlike scenario that it puts you in. It's like you're going up a ramp towards one of these ring jumps, and he's rocketing right next to you, so you're kind of out of view of people at the moment, and you have a chance that you could sort of just like bump him off course, which is sort of like just not the knightly thing to do.
So
but you could totally make it look like it was an accident. Like,
so I would lose that particular round or lose the race.
Just that round. If I made rolls for him as
well. I will choose to not bump him off. I will do the knightly thing.
Okay. Despite that, he's still, or because of that, perhaps he does actually get ahead of you in that particular event. But at the end of it, you do just barely beat him. And this horse is like, I don't know how familiar Urlu is with horses, but it's like you can feel that it's definitely none at all. So in your mind, it's like, wow, horses are incredible at keeping up with a rocket. But mostly it was just because you have, for whatever intuitive reason, you were just able to coax this horse. You like found the zone, and just sort of like you had a natural control over it. Space Knight does congratulate you, but also he's like, I saw that you could have got me there on that ramp, but you didn't. I appreciate that.
It didn't seem the right thing to do, and I mean, this is all for fun, and you might have gotten seriously hurt. And that's not me.
So he bows again, and he's like, you're only making me want to travel the stars even more if honorable folks such as you come from there.
Well, I mean, I can put on a good night, good word with you with Seer Cass. I mean, be fun to have you along.
Does she know the secret star dance? Is that how she gets to the stars?
No, I mean, she's got the teen jammer. That's her son, and we just fly.
Interesting. I too wish to fly. Someday these rocket boots will take me up there, but for now, and he just sort of like holds up your hand and he's like, I declare this man the winner. And people cheer and so forth. And that is your riding. Who would like to go next?
I'm ready now.
Okay. So the joust is what you'd expect. The Obsidian Knight is sitting across from the, on the other side of it, atop a giant crow. He's got his large obsidian spear. Or we'll say he's actually like off to the side preparing, and you are too. What sort of mount is Seer Cass selected?
She got a giant beetle because she was thinking, it's a huge bird. Birds eat beetles. It'll be at least a little distracting.
Okay. We'll say, just whether it's magical or for whatever reason, they're able to procure this giant beetle, and the Obsidian Knight is sort of there, just along in the pens back there, and just nods to your mount. It's an interesting choice of mount.
Admittedly, I have never done this before, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a bit shaky. But I smile, and it's all full of like spider teeth. So.
He nods, and he seems pretty stoic, but not like standoffish. And he just points down the lane to you, and he's like, "It's pretty straightforward. You get atop your mount. We'll ride at each other and try to knock each other off of said mounts."
All right. Well, let's hit each other with sticks. And I will swing up onto the beetle.
All right, and he swings up onto his giant crow, and they take their places. And we'll say you get. Oh, go ahead.
Seer Cass, for the record, did not come out unarmored. She's got like layers of plating that she sort of spun together with spider silk. It's not like proper plates or anything. It's just like just the pieces, and she sort of like stitched them.
Urlan, if he gets a chance, will make a suggestion to Seer Cass.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
jump in. Please.
Why don't you web yourself to your beetle?
I had considered that, but it seems like that would be unsportsmanly since the point is to knock each other off. He's not actually trying to kill me. I don't think it would be right to cheat. No.
I don't know if it's cheating as much as using the resources you have.
I'll consider it if I'm losing.
I bet you could just do it on your bum, and then no one would even notice.
But
no, they would definitely notice.
Wouldn't you think that the way the weapon strikes are supposed to land, like the impact is lessened, like of the weapon strike. If you keep yourself on the steed, it forces the impact of the weapon just to the area. Actually, could cause more damage than just being knocked off.
Oh, it's okay. I think they're using practice lances. They're made to break.
Are they? Are you sure?
Yeah, the jousting ones are.
Yeah, Obsidian Knight's lance actually is just made of like delicate sort of like obsidian, but not like hardened and stuff. It's just like real delicate thing, so it would shatter. It's sort of like his MO.
I'm just using whatever they handed me.
In fact, he often uses the shards of broken obsidian for his pottery and glassware hobby. And you notice that his breastplate had like a mosaic on it of just different little shards of glass and pottery.
It doesn't need played, but I am going to make it a note that Sirkas would ask him about that later, and like just curious about the craftsmanship.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, yeah, we don't have to jump. If you.
Oh no, we're good. Like I'm ready for this, but I'm just like putting that as a side note as a thing that happens.
You do notice that off to the side, like close to where this is going on, Lord Shadow and Lady Carr sort of like sitting in a little pavilion, and they look sort of like they're like wringing their hands, like like they're nervous for some reason.
Okay. Like seriously, what member of my species have they met before that's making them be like this? All right, let's go.
All right. Well, hey, their son is jousting somebody they respect in the name of their sister, his sister, and their daughter. So it's weird for them. Anyways, so is there any kind of flair that you would like to add to your 4 passes?
Not for the moment. I'm just gonna see how this goes at first.
All right. Well, so just make a roll as you sort of guide your beetle forward in a charge toward this crow, which flies low, and he's got his lance out.
7. Tough choice.
He also got a tough choice. We'll say your tough choice is for both of you is you can have nothing happen and it'll be a wash, or you both will get knocked off.
Oh, I like the latter better because it's just more entertaining for the audience.
Okay, sure. So yeah, you uncrow him and he unbeetles you. Did you web yourself or no? You said you didn't want to do that. Okay. And the crowd is like stunned for a little bit, just like because like he's such a accomplished knight. But he gets up, and if you're not up, he would go to help you up as well.
Yeah, Sirkas would take that hand, like stand up, dust herself off. She's a big lady, so like
he is
probably all right.
He's about as tall as you. His top of his head is just like a shards of cracked obsidian and stuff. But yeah, he's quite tall and sort of helps you up and just nods his head and says, "My lady."
She nods back. She's like, "Sir, again."
Indeed. And take your other side so you can take another pass at each other. Give me another roll. And is there anything you wanted to? You can use like your abilities and stuff too. I mean, this is.
I know. But I feel like what this is, like the spirit of it, is not like a life or death battle, and like Sirkas has like get up in your head kind of magic.
Totally gotcha. Just wanted to make it clear. You wouldn't be like, it would be cheating so much.
17.
Ooh, I just got a 20, or a Nerdarchy.
Oh.
So I'm going to say in that one, let's see, is this still a 16? His triumph is going to supersede your success and unbeetle Sirkas.
Once again in the dirt. But like she's kind of laughing a little bit as she gets up and already getting back on the beetle.
When you laugh, you see that Lord Shadow and Lady Carr are like a little relieved, just
like, it turns out this is fun.
Okay. Wow, that's rare for Sirkas to just have like unbridled fun. All right, go for it.
I rolled very poorly, so I'm going to use my point of inspiration to undo that. 19. From a 1 to a 19.
And I rolled an 8. So yeah, you succeed in knocking Obsidian Knight from his crow. He falls in the dirt.
I will offer a hand because that is sportsmanly.
he accepts that as well. The crowd really seems to be like intrigued by this. They're just like, this newcomer, not a Gartanian, and he's like their best knight. This is pretty cool.
Right.
Third,
One last
third.
pass. Oh, is this the third one, or is this no? Because
This,
it was a double unseating, and then I got knocked off the second time, and then it was him. So this is the last one.
yes, right.
13.
And I rolled a 1. So how would you like to spectacularly or catastrophically uncrow Obsidian Knight?
I mean, like, it's gonna look pretty normal. She's not trying to hurt him or anything, but it's like there's this moment where it looks like she might be getting hit, but like she sort of ducks a little bit lower at the last minute and then like gets him in the pauldron or something.
Okay.
It's just very dramatic.
Yeah, and the crowd again, they're just like, they at first they're not sure what to think, and then he gets up and they cheer for you, and he even like comes over and kneels before you and says, "My lady, it was an honor. Should you ever need call of my spear, you have but to ask." And he sort of like looks over at his parents, and they're just like, happily like nodding.
And she'll just give like kind of a deep nod in return, because Sirkas, I don't imagine, is kind of like the kind of person that bows, but
Yeah, right.
She'll help him to his feet and like kind of do the forearm grip thing, as you do before removing herself from the field.
Sounds good. And she has multiple arms too.
Yeah.
All right, we got archery and a duel left.
I'll do some archery. So how is the archery working?
The archery is just a test of accuracy and trick shots. There's like some, they have like things that pop up, sort of like they do like FBI training and things like that. Also just static targets at range. So that sort of thing. And your opponent is Flint Knight, who you had seen before, and he likes to strike his flint arrowheads on his flint head to light them on fire before he goes. He has great respect for Gartanian traditions, and he tells you so. It's sort of brusque and a little standoffish, just because he's very traditional, and you folks ain't from here. He's like,
and how many shots are we doing?
Honor and valor. You have 4 shots.
All right.
And as he's speaking to you, he's like, the first one, he's like, just looking at you, he's like, is the long distance shot. He says that as he's turning around in like one motion and lighting it and just firing it up into the night sky, and you kind of lose it for a second. And then you see fire down the tourney fields. It like hits a target that like explodes in flame. And it was like, I don't know what's far for a longbow, but it's further than that. Further than whatever's realistically far.
Okay, so I had been charging
and
up.
The crowd cheers and stuff like that because he's like, a favorite.
I've been charging up my blunderbuss for a bit.
Okay.
And
you don't have to use a bow and arrow. It's just
I grab a fistful of arrows and just stuff them in the blunderbuss. And I use my death hand shot.
As your antics.
I use my death hand shot.
Okay.
Which just lets me pick a target, even at the far range.
Sure. Perfect.
And just spend points and unleash it.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So I mean, basically, like, it's a lot of damage. It would be like 6 points of damage.
However many points you want to put into it, that's how many different targets will be hit by it.
I'll just do the standard of 3.
Okay.
And hit 3 of them.
So yeah, it looks ridiculous. Just shoots like a rain of arrows, and people are like laughing for a moment, and then it's like 3 super long distance targets are just like all blow up at the same time, and the crowd just goes ape, and Flint Knight's sort of like, it's like, yeah, I suppose if you're going to use some sort, he's just kind of grumbling, like, because he uses a bow. But you could, like I said, you're free to use anything. He's just a real stick up his flint butt about tradition.
What's our next shot?
So the next one, you actually have to stand stack still and forward. So it'll have like those pop-up targets, and some of them are like innocent people and things like, or innocent knights and lords and ladies, but some of them are, monsters and giants. We'll say that's their biggest foe here. So in a series of 4 things, is there any particular thing you want to do that? You're only going to make 1 roll, but
Yeah. So I'm going to use my Spice Weasel, and instead of dropping the ball in, I'm going to stuff it with an arrow.
Okay. So make a roll to see overall how much if you hit the
Tough
target.
choice. I get a 9.
So there's one where it's like a giant holding a knight hostage, and your tough choices. You can either miss and fail this challenge, or hit it and it'll succeed, but it'll be sort of like besmirched upon your honor.
Sometimes you got to kill the hostage.
Okay. All right. So we'll note it in the book. Ularn's honor is besmirched. I like that word, besmirched. And then let's see how Flint Knight does. Ooh, he has a catastrophe. It was laughing at you along with the crowd, but then quickly sours when he fails to hit any giants, but instead all he hits are fellow knights, and he's pretty upset about that, and the crowd is like laughing at him. Let's see, what is the next one is I should have played this better. We'll say it's
speed challenge.
What's that?
I said a speed challenge.
Okay, yeah. Let's see how many. I guess that one kind of was. No, it's a moving challenge. You have to move, and sort of like go, through like an army recruiter or boot camp style obstacle course, like climb a wall, but also like hitting targets along the way and keep moving. So it's timed, and the targets that you hit along the way that pop like that, you'll see they're obvious. It's like go climb a wall, there'll be a target, but you have to keep moving.
This one does a little psychological damage to Urlan. This reminds him of going through boot camp.
It does. It is reminiscent of that to you. Maybe you have some flashbacks. It's all fun and games, and then time slows down for Ularn as he just sees like the crowd like
so
and, like the dirt flying up in his face, like he's back in the shit.
So is is it you can spend AP to reroll?
No, I just kind of made that up on the fly for.
Okay, you just do an inspiration. Okay, I'm gonna Oh no! I re-rolled my tough choice and got a catastrophe.
So you actually do have like a flashback that sort of like takes you out of the moment here, and you're like just standing, like I said, the crowd's laughing, but it's like slow motion for you, and you just feel like,
oh man, it's like the wall in Mr. T. Oh man, what was that movie?
Yeah. Oh, with Rocky 3?
No. It was not. It wasn't a Rocky movie.
Oh.
It was Mr. T. He had to go through this obstacle course, and like he like houses the whole course except for the wall climb, and at the end he runs through the wall. That's how he beats the wall. But in this case, I did not beat the wall.
No, yeah, you just have like a flashback traumatic moment.
I'm just standing there and I'm remembering like my drill sergeant screaming at me.
Do you want to use AP or anything to get out of that? Do you have any powers or? Don't you have some kind of like? Don't you have some kind of like social? You used it like in the first session. It's some kind of.
Yeah, that's just like the blend in.
Oh, okay. I thought that's probably like a whole.
I can poison myself right now.
Yeah, we've already done that this campaign. So
yeah, he just fails. He just fails.
His flashbacks of gift boot camp.
Oh wait a minute! I do kind of have a power. If we're going like he gets stuck at the wall.
Yeah.
I can reach into my spy sash and pull out my feather hook, and it's basically like the Batman grapple gun thing.
Okay, so yeah, with that you're able to complete it. Flint Knight easily beat you, but you do, even though you're totally out of it there and have your moment, you pull that out. And you do manage to complete the course. So
even though I was defeated by this ancient knight
from Flint Knight, it's just like least you finished it. I can respect that.
What is the fourth one?
Oh, that one, let's see. We'll say that is a speed run, like what Ted said. So that'll just be like how many. It's sort of just like a classic target practice, with like the bullseye and the rings, and that's it. So you can use any powers, and you'll make a roll to see.
I will use the
Not to
death
roll,
hand
correct.
this time again,
Okay.
and I will dump as many points into it as you allow me to.
What is more points? Just more hits?
Oh, well, 4 more hits, yeah. Not like more points doesn't do anything, but you had mentioned more points before.
Oh, I thought it was one of those powers.
No, it's not. It's just a flat 3 points.
Okay, so make a roll.
It is not a roll ability.
Oh,
It's just I can hit a target at far range. And again, I just want to dump a bunch of arrows into my blunderbuss and shoot them all at once.
okay, I see. And how many points did that cost?
It costs us 3.
Okay, I got you. So make a roll anyway. I just want to see just like a
16 success.
Okay, so yeah, you do succeed in putting a tremendous amount of things in there. And Flint Knight just also had a regular success. So without using any sort of panache and sticking to the old ways, your use of your special power enabled you to get higher points. So you win out in the points of archery. Of that one, but overall, I believe Flint Knight took the cake.
Well, so in the FAR challenge, I beat him in the FAR challenge. He had a
Yeah.
catastrophe on the second one, and I had a catastrophe on the third one, and then this was the fourth.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the.
So however you math that.
No, you're right. You're right. So it was neck and neck going. Well, no, it was. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, you beat him. Okay. He is not too happy about that, but he respects that you won.
Good show, old chap.
And then,
Although I think my real calling is in game show host. I think that's what I want to do with my life.
well, then you should definitely pursue that and stay out of hunting, archery, and other nightly pursuits. Yes.
Yeah.
Take your game show on the road even. You might even take it far from Gartania.
You're very wise.
Oh, that's what my children seem to think so.
Yeah, they're right. They're very smart. You're
Children
very
are
smart
terrible.
children.
My daughter's a promiscuous floozy, and my son is a crude lecher.
That sounds like the opposite of raising good children. I mean, no judgment. I guess it depends what you aspire to be. Like if she's like really good at being a floozy and really good at being a lecher, then being the best that they can be in their chosen fields, I guess it's okay.
She is quite good. She has fathered many children.
Well, on that note, let me get back over to my friends here.
Yes, our final one is a duel where Dr. Christopher will find himself in melee combat versus Ladder Knight. Ladder Knight has regular armor, knightly armor, except he has like a sort of a harness on his back with several different ladders. He's got like a little footstool that pops out, an extendable one. And he sort of walks across the dueling circle to you. And it's just like, oh, well, how you doing? It's so nice to meet you. Dr. Christopher, I'm told. And he's just sort of like rattling. When he bends over, like you have to kind of duck out of the way because the ladder on his back goes forward as well and hits you.
Christopher McDonough, at your service. And hold on just one moment. And he's going to open his house. And I imagine that much like Barbie, Christopher has an outfit for every occasion.
Sure.
So
His creepy beach house.
Yep, exactly. And so I'm going to spend my 7 points.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's 7. Let me make sure I'm not it's 5. 5 points. And I'm going to emerge then wearing what is essentially like Death Knight armor with skulls and stuff, but it's hot pink.
Okay.
And he has like this huge, like clearly barely wieldable cloud-esque rune sword that's like serrated and looks very much like a villain's sword, but has like jade green runes all over it.
Okay, Ladder Knight is impressed and just sort of like, wow, that's incredible. And he's like, honey, get a load of this guy's armor. And he sort of look over, and there's just like a big, like looks like hastily constructed stone tower that's like on the, just maybe like 3 stories high. And you look up, and in one of like the little windows, there's set of eyes that looking out down at you, and you hear this like voice sort of that's echoing from within this tower, and it's like, that is pretty cool, sweetie. And he's like, yeah. And he sort of puts one of the ladders up against the tower and goes up to it, and he's like, I'd like you to meet my wife, Tower Witch. We just really like your armor, sir.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I had it custom made. I love your ladders. They look super utilitarian.
They are indeed. And he's like, honey, this is the guy who's harboring that fugitive on board the ship they came in with.
Oh, yes. About that, you knew about that? Did they know about that? Like, was that
he
common
sort of
knowledge?
comes down on the ladder and is like talking conspiratorial to you. He's like, I make sure that all the books in the Great Gartania Library are organized for Lady Tome. And it was on my watch when the fugitive stole the Necronomnom.
Fair. Yes, we're teaching him to not be a fugitive at the moment. We're really trying. Yes, it's kind of a whole to do. By the way, good luck in the duel. Like, no hard feelings, no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Of course. Yeah. Best of luck to you as well. And he sort of like walks out to the center of the ring and awaits you there.
I will quickly wave up at Tower Witch and just be like, love your stonework. And then he goes on to go to the duel.
Okay. So this will be sort of, we'll just do it similar to the thing with like 4 different, sort of like phases to it of roles, and you can do whatever powers you want.
Okay.
He does, bow to you and stuff, and, you can step back a bit.
Oh, yes.
He actually, one of his ladders is like an extendable ladder that he's like sets on the ground. It's not leaning against anything, but it like extends several times just and stays there. And he like climbs up to the top of it, and like the bottom 2 like extend back up, so it's just sort of floating there. And he's like, on guard. And then you can begin.
Okay.
Unless, you can do whatever you like to prepare.
Okay. I think that probably during a lot of the time that Christopher was not present while everyone was doing their duels, he was going to find a refuse pit. And he pulled out a horse's corpse.
Okay.
And I would reanimate it. And so he like screws a couple bolts into the neck.
Oh, okay.
Who speaks to his audience that he apparently has and says, when raising any sort of creature, it's important to balance the lightning with the spiritual magic. And green lightning makes like this harness from the bolts. And then it has pink fire that appears for its mane.
Ooh.
And he names the horse Tawny.
Okay, yeah, you see several lords and ladies, particularly from Vodania, who seem to have a more ominous tone to them overall, sort of like ooh and ah at this magical display. And so, yes, how would you like to make your first pass, your first repartee? You're astride this horse now. You got your big sword and everything.
Okay.
Is this like real armor, or is it like an illusion, or what?
I imagine he has real armor. Like,
oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like some power, like a spell that you did or something like that.
I don't know. Barbie was definitely a key component to making his character, so I figure he has an outfit for every occasion.
Yeah.
Whether he can wear it adequately or not, we'll see. But, oh, I am definitely going to use my inspiration because that was a catastrophe.
That was just something I did on the fly for Ted because he was using his powers.
I see. I didn't know we don't start with
So
inspiration.
what were you just trying to like ride at him and strike with your sword, or was there
Yeah,
anything-
basically. I was trying to ride and have the horse jump and strike at him.
Let's see. And was making that horse, was that like one of your legendary things or something?
No, it's just reanimate, and I spent 1 AP on it.
Well, then I think a catastrophe of that just kind of fizzling out and no longer working seems like a catastrophic thing for you. You're at a
Oh,
disadvantage.
no.
So yeah, it's just sort of like you charge at him and it just sort of like starts smoking and sparking and smelling of rotting horse flesh as it just sort of like seizes up.
Clearly, I'm losing my touch. Oh my. I'm so sorry, Tawny. I'll resurrect you later.
And for the ladder knight's turn, he sort of like pulls another ladder out of his thing and it's just sort of like extends it and tries to swing it at you, just to bludgeon you off of Tawny, who's now just inert. And he fails.
Oh,
Just a straight up failure. So the first go at each other, nobody was struck. Let's go again. So Tawny's just sort of like frozen in place of your stride. The horse.
okay. I'm rolling my
Yeah,
Nerdarchy dice for this.
Okay. He's a little out of, he's like sort of standing up on his ladder, which is out of reach a bit. So you're going to have to get creative to get at him with your sword.
That is a 13. Is a 13 a success? I didn't pull open my book.
That's a tough choice. I'm going to say you can jump off Tawny a bit and like grab onto the rung of his floating ladder and try to get up there and swing at him. Let's see your tough choices. So you can hang there and you'll miss him. Oh, no, you succeed. You'll hit him, but you'll be in a precarious situation of dangling there now. Or you can like land back on the ground, but you'll hit him either way.
I think I like the idea of hanging on the ladder because it's more cinematic.
Okay.
So yeah, strike and then just hanging on the ladder.
Okay. So in his turn, then he sees that you're sort of getting closer to him. He doesn't like that. And the ladder that he had swung at you, he just like lays flat, like horizontally in space and like walks across the top rungs of it and like just stands there in like a defensive position waiting for you. So now he's sort of like high above the dueling ring, just like on a platform basically that is the width of the ladder. And that's
cosmic ladders? Oh my goodness. If my house ever gets a roof leak, you need to help me. I will pay you.
And he showboats a bit too, since he has, a good position now. He's just sort of like, wooing the crowd who seems to be loving it. And you hear Tower Witch is just like, get him, sweetie, from inside the tower. And it's back to your turn. So you're just sort of dangling there. And while Ladder Knight beckons you above.
I will climb up and we're going to try to Wesley and Inigo this with a 12. Is that another tough choice?
That's a success. So yeah, you do manage to scramble up and it's like, whoa, to find your footing and you're just a little disoriented because this ladder's floating in air. But you do scramble up it and over to him, striking out while he's like showboating and thinking you're, not doing too good. You manage to get over there and sort of whack him with your sword. Is Christopher like a good swordsman, or is he just sort of like hitting him with this thing?
I imagine that he's very good at making a show of things and very bad at using it in an effective way.
Okay. So yeah, it's sort of like, but it is like a friendly duel. So, you do touche him basically with the sword, even if it's not the most devastating blow. And then for his turn, he'll turn around and try to strike him. And he does not. So, he didn't realize you were that close and he just sort of fumbles to get like a little footstool and get it up and block your blow and hit you back with it, but he fails to do so. So now your final round here is just squaring off high atop the circle, the dueling circle.
Okay. That is a 15.
That is a success. And I rolled a 3. So yeah, how do you want to ultimately end this duel? So he missed going back at you, so I'll say you sort of win it up here. What do you do?
I imagine that we're like really going at it, and Christopher's like weirdly good at hitting his blocks because it's like all about the showmanship, right?
Sure.
Hits one of the blocks a little too hard, and he stumbles on the ladder, but is not like fallen off. And Christopher will help him up.
Oh, nice. Well, he is appreciative of that, and he's like, "Hey, I was just giving you a hard time about that book, but seriously, it's long overdue. We have late fees and rules to follow. If you could get that nasty Dr. West to return that book, I'd really appreciate it."
Oh, but I was just enjoying it. Can I check it out? Is that a thing that can happen?
Yeah, he's like, just speak to Scripture Knight or Lady Tome. They can get you a Great Gartania library card. If you fill out the right forms.
Okay, excellent, because I definitely want to still use it. I've barely scratched the surface. But you are very good. And you know
I try.
Your ladders are amazing.
Well, they don't call me Ladder Knight for nothing. It's like, that's how I won this sweet lady's heart. And he sort of like climbs back up to Tower Witch inside her tower.
You two are such a cute couple together.
We are. We're like the cutest couple in Gartania.
Easily.
So we passed our 9 o'clock hour, but everybody was sort of doing their individual things. So I'm going to roll for some AP points.
Hey.
And everybody gets 5.
Ooh.
And then the kombucha's unusually hitting me, so I'm going to do a rare Nerdarchy thing and take a 5-minute bio break because I cannot sit here for another 45 minutes. I'm very sorry, but I'll be here right
Come
back.
on,
That's why I got up.
Suck it up.
So once the king kind of gives us his decision, and we're free to go about doing. What's all your plans?
That's a good question.
Well, first I need to change out of this because I definitely look like the most fabulous villain that's ever walked this soil.
You do look.
Yeah.
You do look very villainy. Urlu, I thought you would have told that knight he was a step above.
Oh, you mean the ladder guy?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, something about, rung above or something about that. That was definitely a thought pattern that I had going on. But
Am I doing it right?
that does measure up.
So I really liked running this game show. I've never done anything like that before.
So, like, you're serious? That's what you want to do?
Maybe it was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm gonna probably hang out with you guys for a while until Syracuse kicks me off the ship. But I really like traveling through space with you guys.
You wouldn't necessarily have to go anywhere. We're traveling around anyway. We could get contestants from the planets that we visit. We could set you up a set on the ship.
Ooh, what if we did a show called Ingest Quest that was like, we could buy the rights to the show that we're already working with Nerlag, but perhaps we could like let Urulu or Urlon be the host, and Urulu could write the books and the cookbooks, and we could like turn this into a proper thing. Maybe we could like go and face famous chefs or something. There's Rachel Raygun, there's
Like
Bobby
a cooking
Mindflayer,
contest?
there's all sorts of people.
I like
I'm
the
sorry,
idea
what?
of doing a cooking contest. That sounds pretty fantastic.
So meta.
Ooh, what if we got the worst cooks in the universe together and we had to mentor them into the best cooks in the universe?
Is that a punishment?
I think it would be, far more interesting to travel around and find bizarre and interesting cuisine and try to see how they cook it versus how we might cook it. Maybe every world we go to, we pick up somebody that's a chef from there who knows their stuff, and we take them to the next world and have them cook their stuff along with somebody who knows what they're doing. So it's a constant rotating. So there's always somebody who knows what they're doing in one world, but not necessarily the next.
Ooh, so like a diners, space docks, and dives sort of situation.
I mean that there's some correlations, but yeah.
Oh,
or are you saying like we just snatch someone off of their planet, take them to somebody else's planet, and be like, okay, you have no idea where you're at, and you only have the stuff that you have on you, now cook.
I mean, I'm always
kind of like that, but if you're looking at it with like the whole competition game show kind of thing, like they're competing against the chef who's familiar with the local cuisine, and
oh, that doesn't sound fair.
Strange recipes, and they have to kind of see if they can beat the person who knows what they're doing.
Oh, and maybe they have to. Maybe all of them have to send submissions, so when we grab them, while we are kind of kidnapping them, it is consensual.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't actually be kidnapping; it'd be more like volunteering. So, like, you can be the host, and the three of us get to do the eating.
Ooh,
and judge. Yeah, I like the part where we get to eat stuff that people who are really good at cooking.
But wouldn't you get to eat better stuff if you had them cooking the stuff they're good at cooking?
Well, yeah, but that's why there's somebody who knows what they're doing and somebody who's unfamiliar with the ingredient. So there's that's the challenge. That's to see who can do it better.
So how do we decide who has to taste the chef's cooking that might not be so good?
I'll do it.
We all three of us, the judges, we gotta eat them both.
Oh,
make it fair.
So we might be punishing ourselves a little.
No, I mean, still food.
A lot
By
of
somebody who knows something about cooking. I mean, they wouldn't sign up if they weren't a good cook. It just, you tell somebody who knows how to make steak, make a steak, and you give them a strange meat.
Oh, the real world tells me something completely different than that, Ted. They literally have shows based off terrible people, terrible cooks doing shows.
There's shows for everything. Like somebody in the chat pointed out that Ularen's only ever seen the news, but yet he's born to be a game show host.
It's in his DNA.
Back to the situation at hand. Everybody is gathered back inside the main, pavilion where the perfect match question and answer part was taking place. King Knight's on the stage, contestants still on scene, and people are sort of waiting for him to address what's going on. And he's holding the crystal goblet and describes how, he says, contestant number 2, I admired. She was blunt and very self-absorbed. It reminded me a lot of myself. Before the old me would have chosen number 2, but a wise doctor's counsel recently put things in a new perspective. And so I'm afraid, contestant number 2, I will not offer you this rosé.
That's fine.
The remaining 2 contestants were neck and neck the entire time. I admired their insightful answers and different insights into things, and also I enjoyed watching their champions on the field of valor. And while contestant number 3 strikes me as a stand-up woman who's got a good brain on her shoulders and wants to is willing to do the right thing no matter what, contestant number 1 has a shrewd mind who thinks more clearly about why they do things and what they should do first. And I could use a bit more of that in my life. And so contestant number 2, and he sort of like gets down on one knee and is like, will you take this rosé?
I mean, one.
Oh yeah, 1. Sorry.
Okay, so like, given the response that Crow Knight had last week when we were recruiting her in the first place, I imagine she probably like does the little shriek and like, then immediately composes herself and gives a very dignified yes.
Okay, so what do you think, game show host? Are all the contestants revealed then, or just?
Yeah. But before, while the
Sure.
rosé's being handed over, I lean into Botany Night. For sure, he picked the more boring of the choices.
Oh, definitely. But you know what? His loss. Like, I'm still super hot.
Oh my god, I love her so much.
With that, King Knight, I think it is time for you to meet the contestants you have not chosen. Contestant number 2, come on out. We have Botany Night. She's self-absorbed, but she's also hot and into plants. Then there's contestant number 3, Mechanic Knight. She's heady, she's heavy, she's completely metal. Come on out.
Oh, Mechanic Knight, I would wonder why you aren't at your shop working on the war guns. But that would have been the old me. I'm glad you made the time to share your insights here. And we'll have to. I'd like to hear about some of your other ideas that you had as well. Don't you think that would be a good idea? And he turns to Crow Knight to hear what else Mechanic Knight has to say.
Oh, definitely.
I imagine Mechanic Knight just kind of gives a nod, but there's definitely like an underseated glare as she just, kind of strides, holding her head high and heading back to the workshop, of course.
To get those war guns done.
He says, he's like, I've been hearing a lot about this idea number 11 people have been talking about. I'd like to hear more about that. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what that is either.
That's a time and time delivery service. I believe it was on Mechanic Knight's board of, what was it, the top 19? No, top 19 ideas, but then it became the top 18 ideas. I think.
Oh yeah.
You said the two of them were the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I have lost my place here. Well, that's the close of a long day of knightly valor here. Was there anything else the IG crew wanted to do tonight? There's probably like festivities and stuff, or you can go back to the ship, kind of do on your own, sort of.
I'll approach Urlu. Urlu, perhaps tomorrow we can find Camp Night and look into that thing for you.
That would be fantastic if all of you are, completely willing. I would certainly not to. I would not like to leave here without, knowing, whether or not the pan is actually here. It's not exactly a small thing, and it's going to be difficult if Camp Night actually does have it, seeing if he'd be willing to part with it. But I mean, just to, even if he doesn't, just to be able to see it or, know where it is to say, "Ha, found it." I mean, that's something, right?
Sure, I guess so. So I don't know. They got this amazing spread out. I haven't had time to sample anything yet. I've been so busy with setting things up and
that's
running
true.
the show.
It's been being catered by the Ghost Kitchen at this point too. So then there is a large, it's just food and drink and celebration everywhere. So
Urlan wants to go mingle.
Okay. Like I said, it's pretty late, so like a lot of the the more like refined lords and ladies have retired.
Yeah.
But there's certainly plenty of knights and folk around.
Oh, when I say mingle, he wants to try the food and drink.
Oh, okay. He likes sweets in particular, right? Or
Yeah, well, he likes new experiences, and because he's been so sheltered, and all he's ever gotten to eat is military rations, everything is new to him. So he's going to spend some time taking just a little bit of everything and working his way around.
And there truly is a little bit of everything. There's like, roasted boars and, that sort of thing, and like baked pies and meat pies and candied fruits and just all that kind of medieval fare, except unlike the medieval fare that I've experienced, this is like good and tasty.
Yeah, and once he gets to the point where he feels like he can't eat anymore because he's so full, he's going to go find Christopher and ask him if he can start turning it into ghost food for him so he can keep eating.
Oh yeah, he'll definitely do that for you. And he'll be like, so it looked like you had a lot of fun out there today doing your host nonsense. Like that looked a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the questions to ask. I didn't know if I'd be able to come up with good questions, and the knights had such great answers.
Yeah, they really did. I'm proud of you.
Proud of me for what?
I mean, you have gone from knowing nothing about entertainment and very little about anything outside of military tactics to really discovering who you want to be and what you enjoy. And that's actually a really big achievement. There are people that spend their whole lives and still don't figure some of that out. So good on you.
Well, I really attribute it to Sirlash and the crew. I mean, really getting to experience these different people from different places with different experiences. It's like it's opened up a whole new world. I hope I never get drugged back to the gift company.
Yeah. I think maybe, given that your aspirations as a game show host and escape from the GIF largely sort of depend on Sirkas's continued involvement, it might not be a bad idea for you to go talk to her and just let her know that you would like to stick around. I mean, I don't think that she would mind, but it's still nice to ask. And I think that, she, more than the rest of us, and I even include myself in that, knows who she is and who she wants to be. And I think maybe it could be good for you to have a chat.
Well, you're probably right, but also it seems like she forgot some stuff too. So maybe she doesn't know more.
Maybe, but
maybe we can help her find out.
Yeah. Everyone needs help sometimes. But I do think that being around her and seeing her example of being confident enough to say things like calling people playthings is really a level of confidence that most of us don't possess.
Yeah, it's definitely a level of something.
Yeah.
It can be a little scary at times.
Sometimes scary things are a little bit good.
Like Bethany.
Or Bethany. I heard you have a hot date next Wednesday.
Yeah, we've been trying to make some time with it's hard with everything going on, but we try to make some time and we like to spend quality time together, scones and tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there was definitely mention of some sort of new tea she found under the ocean. Yeah, it sounded really interesting. You'll have to let me know how that is.
Oh, well, absolutely will. But since you mentioned it, let me go find Sirkas now, and I will go have a chat with her.
What's Sirkas up to in this late night mingling?
I feel like Sirkas has grabbed a glass of wine, maybe two. She might be triple fisting tonight, actually, because it's a pool party and she's got that many hands. But she's been moving from person to person and just having superficial level conversations, figuring out what's going on at court. She's trying to look interested and not entirely succeeding.
Well, you pick up that the whole line of Lord Shadow and Lady Coshouse and everything has ancient sort of connections to your people that they sort of like looked at. They were sort of like mystics and advisors to them, their houses long ago. And so they just sort of maintain a reverence towards all people, sort of like it's auspicious to see one these days they haven't come across, or, haven't had any encounters with you folk for a long time.
Right, that makes sense. And she accepts that fairly graciously.
Sure.
Like,
you're welcome under their castle at banners at any time. It would be their honor.
which is also very appreciated. She likes their family. They all seem like fairly kind people.
They do. You've actually talked to them the most. Lunar Knight is one of their kids. Crow Knight. Obsidian Knight.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
Ulan catches up with you at some point.
And on that note, and she will turn around and be like, thank you. I thought I was never going to get out of that conversation.
Oh, you're welcome. I wanted to talk to you because, everything's been happening so fast and, I ended up on your ship and we've been flying all over the place. And I wanted to see what was coming next.
That's a pretty good question. I mean, we've got Sherbert West. We came here and made sure that the coronation is going smoothly. I feel like there was something else that was on our docket, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what it was.
Were you trying to find your old crew? Because we found Fitzgerald.
Fitzroy.
Fitzroy, that's what I meant. That's a different Fitz.
And Five Hand Stan. Yes, it would be nice to know what became of the rest of them, particularly Nub Nub. He was very capable. But aside from that, it does trouble me that there's a big chunk missing from what happened while we were out there. That said, I'm really at a loss for leads at the moment, so if you've got a suggestion, I'm all ears. Well, all eyes. Very small ears, in fact, but,
Well, not so much a suggestion, but more of an inquiry, I suppose. I've really enjoyed my time on your ship and, getting to know everyone, and I kind of don't want it to end, and can I stay part of the crew?
Oh, I didn't think that you needed to ask that. We've kind of already adopted you.
Well, I didn't want to be rude, and I didn't want to overstay my welcome.
Oh, Ularn. There's no such thing, your family now. Put all thoughts like that out of your mind.
And you get buried under like a ton of gifts as I scoop you up and hug you.
There are not a lot of people that can do that to Sirkas, so this is a bit of a novelty. She'll hug back with 4 of her 6 arms because you never know when you're gonna need another one for stabbing or something.
I imagine, committing 4 arms to a hug has got to be a pretty big deal for.
It is.
Yeah. And then I'll set you back down. Thank you. It means so much to me. I mean, you're all like family to me as well. And I mean, figuring out who I am and what I want to do, this has been the best times of my life.
Well, may they get better from here.
But whatever you want to do, know that I'm here to help.
And quite likewise, if there's somewhere specific that you would like to go, then please don't hesitate to let us know.
I've kind of really enjoyed the surprise of where our adventures have taken us and kind of not knowing where we're going.
I completely know the There's something adventurous about that.
I did talk to Urulu a little bit ago about finding Camp Knight tomorrow maybe and seeing if we can, while we're here anyway, see if we can't see what Camp Knight knows about his Excalibur.
That sounds like a lovely time. I'm actually quite fond of this planet. The people here, I can't talk to them individually for very long all at once, but I do like the general vibe of them, if that makes sense.
They're really weird in a good way.
Yes.
I'll take that.
I like their heads.
Yeah, there's not too many people you meet who you can drink tea right out of their heads.
Well, for you maybe.
Oh, yeah. On that, Urlan looks a little sheepish. Let me see if I can't find Urulu before it gets too late. He'll scare
By
you
all
off.
means.
Yeah, was there any other nighttime things that anybody else wanted to do?
I don't have anything. Anybody else?
So Urulu is definitely mingling and talking to a variety of people. As much as Urulu has spent the majority of his life consuming media. This place full of people. Let's face it. Nobles tend to want to talk a lot and share. So he's good at just absorbing and at the same time absorbing as much of the different types of food as he can, and completely how much his body can squish and fit into things. He's also like probably eating like crazy, and he's probably got a healthy paunch from just stuffing his face, and there always seems to be room for more.
You do actually find come across a large variety of the sort of food that you're familiar with, like aquatic food, and mostly mingling around there is a particular family of aquatic type knights. There's Lord Fish, who basically has like transparent chest plate, and there's like an aquarium in his chest of just like various creatures and stuff, but you can still see like the spine going in the back up to his head, which also looks like just a helmeted head. But there's his, who is this? Brother, Lord Cod, who has a cod fish-shaped helmet and sort of scaly-looking armor. Lady Eel, who's looks like she just is an eel-like humanoid that's sort of like writhing around inside coral armor. But they're sort of like mingling around there, like slurping on aquatic foods and just.
So he would conversate as best as possible, and again, allowing people to share whatever they want to share. And then whenever possible, he would just slowly slip in, hey, do you know anything about camp night? Trying to find that little thing, but possibly looking for someone that might have that wistful look, because camp night wants to find love, wants to see true love, and maybe there's somebody here that really digs them that
this family
he
does
didn't really know about. So
this small family unit that you does seem to be very amicable with each other. And actually, as you're asking that, Lord Fish is like reaching and like grabbing your arm, thinking you were some sort of aquatic delight. And then like when you say that, it's just like, oh my gosh, I thought you were part of the buffet.
Nope, sorry.
Oh, it's not. There's so few of us aquatic oriented knights. It's interesting to see. You're one of those people who was part of arranging that wonderful program, isn't that right?
Yeah. I went up against Space Knight in one of the little tournament things. It was fun.
And little bubbles come out of his mouth and with glee. And what was it that you had asked that?
So basically, he's looking for information on camp night. See if there's somebody that might happen to, whether somebody says so verbally or whether I can read it in someone's visage that cares for camp night. Camp night wants love, and Urulu wants to help him find it, so that perhaps he might be willing to part with the frying pan if he's got it. And if not,
they sort of like talk to amongst each other and to you, and they're like, "Oh, if anybody, that butcher knight sure seems to be in love with Camp Knight. He follows them everywhere. I've never seen a knight care for another like those two. I'm frankly surprised to see them not together tonight." And they're like, "Yeah, where is Camp Knight? They're like, he's always with Platt and Butcher Knight.
He'd kind of gone off on some kind of quest against giants, and we're gonna possibly go looking for him. But
Oh my gosh, young man, you're taking up the quest to potentially rescue a stranded knight?
yeah,
Well, then you have the blessing of Lord Fish upon you.
well,
And he sort of like puts his hand out and whispers some words. Doesn't do anything, but
yeah, sure. I mean, I'll take it, as as if it was a more than a grand gesture, that it's like this that it's an actual honor and all of that and whatnot, in case it actually is.
Quick
it's
question:
your duty now.
Does Lord Fish just say it, or does he spray it?
Oh, he sprays it. Totally. He does not say anything without spray.
Is Butcher Knight happen to be here?
No. He sort of, he was there throughout the day, but he's not late night mingling. But you could, if you're, you could probably find him, by asking around and looking around. He would be with Kettle Knight, actually, having late night tea back at the facility, which is all quiet now because the food production is quieted down.
I would probably go and find my crew, my friends. So I'm gonna say that I find Ularn and Sirkas, just as Ularn mentions I should go find Uralu, and I'm like, right here.
Yep, absolutely.
So
all together.
So was thinking, don't know what you guys feel about, possibly helping me out on, my little kind of mini grand lifetime mega quest. But
have you gone to meet, try to find Butcher Knight?
Not yet. I was going to talk
about. Sure.
So putting the pieces all together that, Camp Knight may or may not have, said frying pan. If he does, I doubt he's just going to be like, oh, somebody else is on the quest too. Here, have it. Take this prized, mega thing from me for nothing. But, I've found out that Camp Knight basically doesn't know what love is, never seen it, and that's kind of a big deal for him. Talking around to, some of these other famous people here, that Butcher Knight really digs Camp Knight. So if maybe we can convince Butcher Knight to confess their feelings for Camp Knight, perhaps that just might be big enough. And if Camp Knight's got the thing, he might be willing to part with it. If he doesn't have the thing, we possibly just, set up some more people in love, which is not a bad thing. What do you think?
Well, we did.
You go ahead.
I was about to say we did just bring one couple together. Why not a second?
It does seem to be more of our MO, as it were, on this.
The modus operandi.
Helping people find true love.
Camp Knight is off fighting giants, right? So we'll have to go find him and perhaps these giants?
Supposedly.
Oh, dear.
Which is fine. I mean, you know what they say. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
How familiar?
That's just gravity, isn't it?
Yep. Oops goes there. There goes gravity.
I mean, you still have to do the damage to bring them down. But then, yeah, once they're down, they're going to fall and kaboom. But, yeah.
Yeah, kaboom, and I pat Betsy.
You probably wouldn't have that saying on your planet, Oralu, because if it's all aquatic,
yeah, but
they just float to the top when they fall.
They go the other way.
Yeah. The bigger they are, the quicker they float to the surface. You know that old saying.
So do we need to find?
He's also well versed in lots of world.
I know. I'm just going.
Do we need to find Butcher Knight to figure out where Camp Knight is exactly? Then we can set off in the morning.
So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, of whether we start off early and try to go find Butcher Knight then, or whether we go try and find Kettle Knight and Butcher Knight now, having, late tea, and talk to them and possibly see if one or both of them want to come with us to go find Camp Knight tomorrow.
I think Butcher Knight told you he would send Clat with you to help track.
Right, but if we...
Yeah, I just...
Now with this new information, and thank you, I didn't remember about Clot.
Sure, yeah.
If we
The
then...
clot thickens.
Nice.
That
he
is
says he doesn't like puns.
But I mean, if we were to try and convince Butcher Knight to come with, so that they would be able to confess their feelings.
I see.
There.
Sure. Well, yeah, like I said, you know where they're at. I mean, if you want, you can totally segue to that, where they're back in that back room of Kettle Knight's, sort of just like, Kettle Knight's just like bouncing his foot and just, sort of confiding. Kettle Knight's like, I know. He's like, we'll find them. Those newcomers will probably be of help for that. And like, as you're walking in, like, see, I told you, they're here right now. Here to make everything better. You've already saved the buffet, the wedding. What magnificent feat will you do next? They're going to find Butcher Knight's friend, isn't that right?
That was actually what we're here to talk to you about. We're planning to go out there tomorrow and try and find Camp Knight. Thank you again for allowing Clot to come with us. Well, I had another line of questions, thoughts, and he kind of like stammers, and emotions are not really something that Uralu's all that great at.
Sure.
So like he kind of stammers and looks to his companions for a moment to be like,
What color is Uralu?
Let's get to... So he's kind of a little bit white.
Ooh.
So I mean, the talk amongst the people at the party is that, and he just, he spits it out, and it first comes out as just a jumble of everything stuck together, so it's almost unreadable, unhearable, undecipherable. That's what I'm looking for.
Sure.
But he like repeats it, that you're interested in Camp Knight, and if Camp Knight has never seen love and you're in love with him, then you should come with us, and you should tell Camp Knight that you're in love, because there's no reason to hide love.
Fair point. Unless you're afraid of getting your head eaten. But I don't think they do that here, so...
It's like, no, giants totally will eat your head. And he's like, but if you're saying that the best chance Camp Knight has got is for me to come with you, then... And he's sort of like nervous and scared. And he's like, I'll do it. He's like, I don't have to go by myself, do I?
We're all of
I
us.
mean, I don't want to go out there. I can't fight giants by myself. Or,
No, we're going, and we're going to help find your friend, and we're going to help give you the confidence to be able to, tell him how you feel. If Kettle Knight wishes to join, that's great. If not, that's okay too. But I think
I'll have the tea brewing when you get back.
I just think that you should come with, so that you can be there as part of the finding. And
I got an idea. What if we bring Butcher Knight and put Butcher Knight's life in danger, and Camp Knight sees that, and then Camp Knight will realize how they feel?
I don't know how comfortable I feel about putting someone's life in danger on purpose.
Well, we'll protect them.
If it'll help Camp Knight, I'll do it.
You just need a safety net.
Can it be faux danger? Like, one of
I like faux danger. That sounds good.
Can take care of that.
Oh, maybe we can convince a giant to pretend.
Well, I was thinking, like, one of Dr. Christopher's friends, or
Or an illusion.
Yeah.
That way they can actually kill it.
Yeah, giants are pretty nasty. I don't know, want to get too complex. They're with your plan. They're kind of dumb.
You know, I have had a thought, though, bubbling and percolating and other things associated with cauldrons.
Oh, really? Tell me. I'm intrigued, says Kettle Knight.
I know you love the percolating bit, but
Let's hear your idea, and then we'll steep on it for a few minutes and see how we feel.
of course. How familiar is everyone with fairy tales? Because it occurs to me that this land has many, many associations. Well, I mean, frankly speaking, it's rife with fairy tale tropes. And I mean, don't get me wrong, fairy tales are what they are, but my mother always did say that in every fairy tale, in every story, is a grain of truth. And I wonder if this planet has enough grains to make a beach.
You'd have to talk to Grain Knight for that.
Sorry.
Beach night.
I thought maybe the
Him too.
association with coffee grounds would help, but apparently
That's my dad's bag.
Suffice it to say, what if, and just wild speculation, what if Camp Knight is in danger and the only way to save him would be with true love?
Sounds pretty fairy tale-ish.
I mean, it is, but then again, so is hosting an entire joust for a fair event, what have you, to find the match for the king. And granted, game shows aren't always in there, but I mean, there are witches, and there are knights, and there are lords and ladies, and there is just a whole mess of things. I wouldn't put it past fate to do something like that.
That's a great idea, Dr. Christopher. Then I lean in and whisper, what if Camp Knight doesn't really love them?
Well, then I suppose at that point, he's doomed.
That's fairy tale-ish too.
And frankly speaking, Doom can be fun too.
Also, nobody really specified that it had to be romantic love, did they?
No. I mean, I feel like all of us share a type of true love.
I think so too. I would be inclined to think that it's more familial, but it's real, it's there.
Exactly. After all, it saved Erlon from a life of drudgery. It saved Urulu from, well, frankly speaking, a life of boredom.
Whatever happens to stowaways on a normal ship.
You just see Urulu starting to turn red at all of this, talk of familial love and what have you.
You see Butcher Knight sort of getting bolstered by all your talk, and he, kind of like puts his big cleaver across his hands. He says, if that doesn't work, we'll just have to carve him up.
Yes.
Have you been hanging with Serikaz?
Don't cut my meat.
Oh, I do. That's what this cleaver's for.
Well, most species don't liquefy their food, so that makes sense.
And people can be reassembled and reanimated. It's fine.
So Urulu, kind of shakes out as his tendrils. So what time do you all want to leave in the morning?
Well, if you want to do a quest proper, then you'll leave at first light. I can, of course, arrange for horses for you. We've got plenty of them at the Castle Kettle.
Oh, I definitely need to reanimate Tawny for this.
I saw that. That was quite disgusting, but also kind of interesting.
She's gorgeous. Don't judge her just because she was once dead and is now undead. She's beautiful in her own way.
Fair enough.
As are all monsters.
Tips his teacup to you. So yeah, the next morning, if you want to fade to that bright and early as the sun's coming up, Kettle Knight is actually meets you at an appointed place with horses, and his father's Kettle Knight Senior is there too, sort of like, sternly looking at him. He's like, well, if I am going to lend my finest horses to these outsiders, I at least want to meet them first and give them a stiff cup of coffee to get the day started, get your quest started proper. Save your tea, son. And he sort of like has like a French press breastplate that just sort of like squeezes down the plunger, and we'll offer each person a. It's so like strong. It's actually like a crema around the top. So if you're gonna go on a quest, you've got to be alert.
Definitely downing that in one shot.
It's fantastic.
We will be alert and wide awake for sure, sir.
Yes, yes. And I want these horses back. My son assures me that you're the most trustworthy sorts. I saw you on the field of valor. I'm inclined to agree.
We will bring them back in tip-top shape.
All right. So yeah, you ride out, unless there's anything else you want to do there. And it's, you're riding out towards the mountains in the morning light. These horses are really good. Clat is, running up, keeping up with the group and stuff.
What is Clat? Refresh my memory, please.
That's Butcher Knight's dog. It's just like a shaggy dog.
Oh, does he have a weird head?
No, it's just like a regular dog.
Like a regular. Okay, that makes him the weirdest thing here.
Yeah, weird by lack of weirdness.
And you had known where to look and things like that. And just for the sake of time, since we'll end the session as you sort of like you've discovered the giants' camp. That you're undetected. You're on a ridge overlooking where they sort of have like a camp set up. There's 3 giants, and they're just massive, probably like 40-foot tall brutes, humanoid. And down below, you see that you actually see Camp Knight. He's at like a giant size like hearth and stuff, and they're like sort of mocking him and pushing him around, and he's just sort of like going from station to station cooking food for them. And Urlu, you actually are able to see from far away, but because you have sought it so long, you see that he is cooking with, it looks like just a regular cast iron skillet, but that since you're on the quest that he is down there using Excalibur and just sort of like, he's got like chains around his legs. And Camp Knight, you have never seen him before. He is just like a knightly thing, but he has like sort of a platform across his shoulders, and it just looks like a white tent with like the multi-parts is his head. It's just like a giant tent.
Oh, I'm glad you
He
did.
has like shackles around it. What's that?
I'm glad you
his
mentioned
cape is like a mosquito net that's like hanging off. He has like a big mosquito net cape. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Dave?
I was just saying, I'm glad you mentioned that. I couldn't remember if you had told us what he looked like and I forgot.
No, you've never seen him.
Or if we just hadn't gotten a description of him yet.
But you
Because
can
we've
see that
talked about him so much.
Yeah, he's in shackles and just disheveled and kind of not looking too good. But you do see him down there below, and that's where we'll fade away until next week.
Nice. Well, I want to thank you for running our illustrious guide, and everyone for playing, and everyone for hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back next week with episode 10. Getting close to the end here.
No, 9, right?
No, this is 9.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That's what my screen tells me anyway.
Okay, sure.
Now I'm questioning life and all of my
I
choices.
don't know.
Yeah, we got 3 more left, and then we move on to the next thing. And this has been a blast. And I'll be back here Thursday and Friday morning. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.